You've been taught kujinyenyekea.
Nyamaza.
Usisubutu.
Yeah.
That was my first.
All right.
And by the way, from 475, the next one was 425.
Oh, goddamn pay cut.
Washing dishes,
yeah.
I hope.
Mika.
This
Before we go to the meat and bones of our conversation today, like I've been going through, like some of your content on your Linktree page, which we're going to post here on the comments. Mm-hmm. With all the Airbnbs, apartments, and maruta buzzing back home, investing back home in Kenya is missing in your financial education content. Is this by happenstance or by design?
It's because I don't. Therefore, I cannot speak on something that I don't do.
Okay. Why don't you do it?
Because I'm here. I will do investing in Kenya when I decide I'm going to go to Kenya to live.
But have you, seen people who live here invest in Kenya? Maybe family members,
my father
friends?
is one of them. Yeah, I have friends, I have family. Yeah, of course.
Okay, so you probably have some intimate knowledge also of how
I've had stories
to invest in Kenya. I mean, if your father is investing in Kenya, you probably know, like how his investments are doing.
Yes.
So why is it that you've never been tempted to give people options? Unaweza kuinvest hapa na pia huku unaweza kuangalia.
Because there's enough of that. There's a platform for that. There are people that are much better than I am to talk about that area, because it's just not something that I invest in. There's enough people that can talk about that. All I can talk about is what my experience has been in this country, my investing in this country. Mm-hmm. When I start investing in Kenya and I have something to say about it, I'll talk about it. But right now, I just don't. I mean, other than just stories on of what I've witnessed with my dads, the good, the bad, the ugly, you buy plots here and then you go home and you're like, isi yako mzee. Like those nightmare stories. I've watched my dad go through all of the, the ins and outs. But there are some that have been obviously fruitful. Right? So for me, at this point, at this juncture of my life, my focus is investing here, teaching and educating people here, because there's a lot of us who are here and don't have this financial education of what it is to make this American dollar, but you don't understand why you don't have anything left at the end of the day because of how you're taxed, how you have your assets, how you have all those things. And if that's the same dollar you're planning to go and build with back home, then you want to take back as much as you possibly can and not give or leave some here when it's unnecessary. Okay.
All right. Now, then I want us to talk about, basic money management issues, because at the very most basic level, even before you get to the investment, there's a basic money management issue. And you previously admitted, you've told us that you may have made some mistakes when it came to managing of your money prior to the financial crisis.
Yeah.
So maybe please talk to us about this and tell us maybe some common mistakes those of us who move to the U.S., immigrants, make when it comes to the management of their finances.
It all begins with tax and asset protection. And if I have to add something else and trigger some people, you need to have life insurance while you're building your wealth.
Okay, so say that in English. Talk to people, because, and this is the thing that also myself being, a professional in the field, we sometimes get lost, when we talk about asset protection. That means nothing to 90% of the people. It doesn't mean anything. Even when you tell someone, oh, by the way, you need life insurance, that also means nothing to the average person.
Yes.
So where do you start? With I'm talking about just the common, the common mistakes that we make based on the fact that this is what we normally do, this is what we're used to. What are some of those things that maybe people need to be aware of? So,
like I said, it starts with taxes, how you're taxed, how you make an income, right? I talked about, the transition from employee to an entrepreneur. The tax code is written for businesses, period, end of sentence. People can argue all they want, but the tax code is written for people that have businesses. If you earn a W-2, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with earning a W-2, but there's only but so much that you can write off and deduct as a W-2 earner. When you file your taxes, the IRS does not start by asking you how much money you made. They ask you by how are you filing. How you filed is what's going to determine how you're going to pay taxes.
Single, married, with children.
Exactly.
Head of household.
How did you earn your income?
Yeah.
How are you filing? Are you filing as a W-2?
Or as a business.
As a business.
Yeah.
That's where the story begins.
Okay.
So if you there's no cheat code. There's no, people avoiding to pay. Everybody has to pay their fair share of taxes. All I'm saying is, are we maximizing all that is written, all that is available to us, freely available to us, to maximize the things that are available for us to write off and deduct so that we can bring more? Because it's not even about how much money you make. It's how much you keep at the end of the day.
Okay. Yeah, and I think I want to bring in the rest of the panel into the conversation, so that we can, we can bring in, like the layman talk.
Yeah.
In as far as, we can bring in the layman talk in as far as, because it's very important.
Yeah.
To, like have, like to slow down the conversation and, like have it in a way that people can understand, because that's something that most people have heard. You gotta know your taxes. You gotta be aware of your taxes. So let me speak for myself personally. My first tax lesson in America is when I received my first paycheck at Giant Food. That was my first lesson. That was my first tax. Was it a Target or Giant Food? It was one of the two.
Let me guess. Maryland. Employment.
6%. So I did not know about Social Security. I did not know about Medicare, because I started working, in my defense, I had been in the country for 2-3 weeks. And I really appreciate my aunt, because my aunt Ali neutralized your cool kid. I came the first week. She totally neutralized it. I came in the first week, and she told me, okay, here's a deal. Unaona, pale across the road, the grocery store.
Yeah.
Ukiingia hapo kwa mlango, those days you could not even apply on a computer. You had to go to physically apply there.
Paper.
Yes. He was like, go and apply for a job.
Yep.
I'm giving you exactly 1 week to find a job there. So many places that are hiring. That was within my first week in the US. Na ndo nikajua hapa kumeharibika. So I was like, okay. I went nikatafuta and I was like, okay, fine. Ndatafuta kazi. When I found a job, I started, and then on my first week, they used to pay weekly that time. So when my first paycheck came, that was my first lesson. That job was paying the high wage of $7 an hour. Yes. It was paying $7 an hour. I know, that's very unusual, when young people are now starting to work and they're getting 16, 17, 18, they wanashtuka wakisikia people used to pay $7 an hour. Oh, wow. Okay. Uko ni mbali. Uko umeenda ni mbali. But you see, my first lesson, that was my first lesson. In my defense, I was new in the country, but I know for a lot of people, that also becomes their first lesson.
So what was your reaction? You see your paycheck, then what?
No, I was shocked. I'd already started spending. Nilikuwa nishapitia like Forest Mall, and I knew what shoes I was buying.
That was when there was still a hex. There
was the hex, yes, at like Forest Mall. I knew what I was buying. I knew the clothes, because that's where my mind was at that time. Niko Stato, nitabuy malebo na nini. So I had already started calculating in my mind, and I'm like, no.
Who is FICA?
This is not adding up. So I went to HR, and they were very nice, because they realized
you
that
went to HR?
Yes, I did, because I was like, hey,
inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah, I mean, this is my money.
Thing.
This is my money.
Okay,
I
there
want
was no
to, not
Google
paying
at the time, so I'll give you that.
Yeah,
so
I went, and that's when they explained to me, on every paycheck that you get, this is a deduction, it's compulsory, it's coming from the government. I found a very nice lady, there, and she explained to me step by step. And then, when I went back home, and I explained to my aunt, was like, yeah, that's how things work here. You have to pay taxes. So that was my first tax lesson. A lot of people also, I believe, their first paycheck was their first tax lesson. And that's the reason why, people never seem to get this tax part. Mike.
I think my first lesson was back in the day at High's store. There are not that many left, but there are some that.
But did you know that you were gonna get taxed on your first paycheck?
No, because you're working all these hours. Alafu unaangalia ka check, you're like,
who is this?
No, because mentally you're saying, okay, I'm being paid $5 and $4.75 times this
20 hours
times however many hours. You're like, hapa kuna ka $200 kanaingia. Wakade. Below that, you're like, wait, what?
What happened here?
Then of course, I mean, like you're shy. You're like, you're not really intending to back the system. You're like, okay, is this normal? Okay, sawa.
Wengine tuna
I'll
paper,
keep
so we don't
it.
want to question and raise more things. So you're just like,
You
I'll
know,
take what you give me.
Because you also
Sawa.
don't want to you back the system. You know, you're not like, yo, what the hell is this? You've been taught kujinyenyekea.
Nyamaza.
Okay.
Nyamaza,
Fanya kazi.
usithubutu.
Yeah.
That was my first.
All right.
And by the way, from 475, the next one was 425.
Oh, goddamn pay cut.
Washing dishes,
Yeah.
I hope.
Na Mika,
Dishwashing.
ama Mika ulikuwa unajua hizi vitu already by the time you earned your first paycheck in
Mika
the
was a
US.
cool kid.
That's a cool kid. Me, I'd come from a country where we didn't pay taxes. Zilch. Like your salary was your salary.
Oh, yes,
Okay,
Dubai.
well, we are hiring you for $3,000 a month. You end up paying.
Oh, wow.
When I came here, the first job that I started doing, I went to work with my brother for a dealership. I was selling cars. I sold, my first car to sell was a Ram 2500. Commission 1,700. I was very happy. And then I sold Avenger, but Avengers. I sold like 6 Avengers. I sold like 6 Avengers. We paid every 2 weeks. So for that paycheck, I remember for that paycheck in my head, nilikuwa napiga hesabu, nilikuwa na karibu $3,000 for people. Hey! And then, you know, commission is taxed differently. It's not taxed like regular salary. So
The math was not mathing.
my first paycheck, the math, it did not math. Nilienda home, niliteta. Bro akaniambia hapana. By the way, this is how this is done, and I think actually that made me realize real quick that I need to get back to my profession. Yes, I don't know because there was no way it sat down. It didn't sit down comfortably with me that a big task that I'm really making money for the government like that.